Hello, my name's Ond and you're watching Ond's Garden. So welcome, and this is the kitchen garden. And today we're indoors because there's a storm raging outside, Storm Pepe or something like that. And we're going to be looking at how I irrigate the plants which you can't normally reach, that's above my head. So things like this. This one currently I do manually with a watering can. But I'm going to explain to you what I do with some of the other ones that are higher up, and we're going to be moving this one up and above and plumbing it into the irrigation. So we're going to be talking today about carrots. So we're going to be talking today about carrots, ceramic carrots. This is what I use basically to get the water to the plants. Now there is a storm going on outside, so just beware that it might be a little bit noisy on the roof with the rain coming down onto the glass. But yeah, hopefully it should be okay. It might even be a bit gloomy. But let's crack on and get into it and have a look at some irrigation. So I'm going to be talking about the carrots in a minute, but there's another watering system that I want to talk to you about, which is above my head. So the Boston Fern up above my head. I've made a stick basically to point at things. I haven't got a laser pointer, so I've got a bit of bamboo wrapped, a bit of tape just to point, so you have to bear with me on that one. Up above is the Boston Fern. Boston Fern is sitting in a trough, and the trough, two troughs up here, one over there, one here. They're connected together with a pipe, and in the trough there is a plastic ledge where the water sits, and then above that is some capillary matting which is soaking into the water trough, and then the plant pots go on top of that. So the water gets dragged up from underneath, sucked up by capillary action, and then keeps the moisture on the soil. That's right, yeah. Anyway, so looking at the plant troughs, on the far edge over here, there's a pipe just sitting on the top going into it. So this is where the water comes into the troughs, feeds the troughs, and then it drains out this end. So see the pipe there, that comes out the bottom. There's another pipe there, just with a right angle on there, and then that drips into the sink. So I can turn the water on, fill them up, and it doesn't get too high, it just gets to the level of the pipe. And then it feeds out the pipe, drips down into the sink, so that's that sorted, and basically everything stays wet. So once a week I'll probably turn that on just to see it drip out the end, and then I'll turn it off again. Further down, so where the feed pipe comes along the top here, it goes into this wooden section on the left, if you can see that, and then it goes underneath the cupboards into the cupboard. So let's have a look in the cupboard. So as you can see, I'm shining this black light here on the valve. So the valve just goes through the water pipe, and when I turn it on, it comes up, comes along through that one-way valve, and goes along and up the wall to the two troughs. So that's how the the water gets up there. So let's just turn it on so you can see it working. So just turn it on a bit. And the water will be going up there, going all up the wall in the pipe. It's coming out that white pipe there, which goes all the way to the end of the troughs, all the way along there, and drops into the trough in there. That feeds from one trough to the next trough, and eventually out the end where the pipe is, down the pipe, and we should see it dripping out of there. So that's the troughs, but now you probably want to know about the hanging baskets, which is a little bit more complicated, so it's a good job I've got this stick that I can point at things, because they're going to be very high up in the roof up there. So yeah, let's have a look. So for all these hanging baskets that are up above my head that I can't reach normally with a ladder, these need watering too. So how do I water those? Well, let's have a look, see where it goes down to. So it starts off, it's fed from the sink, basically goes all the way under the floor, and it comes into this cupboard here. Here we are in the cupboard, and you can see on the left hand side here is the humidifier. Bring the light back here so you can see it. So there's a humidifier there, which pipes out through the cupboard door. And we've got a filter in the back there. So this water also feeds the fridge. So there's a filter, there's valves, this is the one that goes down to the irrigation, and it's got a tap on it. Okay, so filtered water comes out there, comes out of the cupboard, and it goes into a T, which goes off to a pressure reducing valve, and then the one on the left basically goes to a tap, so I can drop the water out if I need to into there. So pressure reducing valve, then it goes off to a number T, then I've got a pressure gauge, of which is a bit high at the minute. It tends to creep up over the year for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, so I need to adjust that valve a bit more. So normally I'd have it about here, just over 0.4, so it's a bit high at the minute probably, so we'll have to check that out later. But that's the whole point of the pressure gauge. And if I move this cheese plant, you can see that the pipe goes around the corner, around that corner to another T on the black pipe, and the black pipe goes down. There's a carrot sat there feeding water into this section, and there's a little joiner there which reduces the pipe size from the big irrigation pipe to the little one, which is the flexible squishy one. So following on, this pipe goes up, it goes up, it goes up there, and it goes around, and then we go up there to the top of the roof. And there you'll see another T with the white pipe at the top. Okay, and that splits off, and that goes to all the hanging baskets, basically. So it goes all the way down that wall, comes across there, the ceiling, look, drops down into that basket. Drops down into that basket. And the other way, it goes up, and there's a bit that goes across the roof there. Drops down into that basket, drops down into that basket, and these are teed off to the little baskets to the side. And it goes along the roof down there to that basket in the corner, and it also goes down the roof there It goes all the way down to the last basket at the end. Okay, but also, I'll spin it round again. Hopefully we're not getting too dizzy. It goes down the middle there and drops down into these baskets here. Same on that side. There we go. So that's how the water gets to the baskets. We're going to be putting that basket, we're going to move up the top there. And we're going to be adding another carrot to it and plugging it into the irrigation. Because I want to fit another basket on the wall there with a different fern, which would be quite good. So that's where the water comes from. And it's also important to note as well that there are non-return valves in the pipes that basically stop the water feeding back from the hanging baskets into the system, such like one that was under the sink, and keeps the water from getting contaminated that's used for the fridge and things like that. So it's important to get those in, and it also stops it leaking if you have to split a pipe for some reason or add another bit of pipe. Okay, so I don't feel as if I've used my pointy stick enough. So I'm going to demonstrate what we're looking at here. So first of all, spotty mug, cup of coffee, essential to the job. Secondly, we've got some pipe here. Now this pipe is a fridge pipe, so I think it's 1/4, 6 mil outside diameter, 4 mil inside diameter. And into that pipe, we are going to be putting some right angles, like so. This is 4 mil right angle, just to get us around the corners. You can actually get the right angle with the reducer if you want to do it properly, but I've run out of everything else, so I've just got a T-piece blocked off one end with some glue, and then that forms a right angle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the pipe on the right angle, glue it, because I like to glue everything just to give it a bit more pressure tolerance, stop things slipping off. Then these slot into the T-pieces, normal fridge connectors. If you've got a lot of stuff to do, it's a good idea to get one of these. So this is a pipe cutter. So let me show you how it works. It's got a little blade on it. So if you're going to do a whole room, such as this, then this is pretty good because you just snip it like that. Yeah, ideal really. If not, then you can just use some pruning cutters. They do the job. Okay, this is a Trump Blue Mat carrot. You can see it's got like a ceramic tube, and also it's got a lid with a hole for where the pipe goes through. So the flexible pipe will go through there. If I push the pipe through there, it's very squidgy, this pipe. So if you tighten that down, that'll block off the water. Then what happens is you fill this full of water. Then as the water evaporates out the ceramic, it pulls down the water level. The water level then pulls down plunger, which you probably can't see, but it basically pulls down the plunger at the bottom of here, and then it lets more water through. So mechanically, it's constantly filling up the water when it needs it. So when the water's filled up, it soaks back into here. What happens is that it pushes the plunger up, and then it cuts off the water. So this is an ideal way. There's no batteries, no electrics, nothing like that. So it's an ideal way of watering your actual plant pots, which is what I like very much. The only thing you've got to keep an eye on is because you've got to keep this topped up with water every now and again. So probably a few months, probably every 3 months, just have a look at your water levels in these, make sure they're okay, and just reset up this. So normally what you do is you turn it down till it stops water, and then you just release it till it starts to come, and then you turn it back half a turn, and then you'd leave it, because that should then drip in when it dries out, when the soil dries out, assuming you watered it first, of course. So let's get some water in this. Okay, so we've got some water in there now. That's how it goes. Lid on. That will go into one of these. Takes a bit of stretching to get it over. There's a better reducer for this, but I just haven't got any left. This will go over the top of there, and then that goes into the pipe. So we've got this sort of scenario. You've got your carrot that sits in the soil, and then you've got, in this case, I've glued everything and I've tie wrapped it, so it's all solid. Basically, it's just a right angle. And it goes from one pipe size to another pipe size. And that goes into a tap, because you want to tap, because if you've got to take the hanging basket down, it's a good idea just to turn off the tap and then disconnect it here. And then you can just drop the hanging basket out with the carrot in it. Makes it a lot easier. So let's put that back. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working on the Boston Fern, not this one, Boston Fern. And we're going to be getting that up and plumbed in into the system. So we've got a T-piece that go in the top, and then this will drop down into the pot. So let's crack on with that. But first, I think we need a cup of coffee. Oh yeah, love cups of coffee and tea. Delish. Okay, so we're in the pot in a minute, on the top of the roof, and you can see the carrot here, into the soil. There's the adjuster at the top, squidgy pipe. Squidgy pipe goes to right angle, changes size to 6mm tube, so it's pipe tube for fridges and things like that. So 6mm outside, 4mm inside. Goes to the tap, which is turned on, which then goes all the way up to the T at the top there, which is joined into the main ring. So now all we've got to do is just set it up so it's got the right amount of water. So we're going to undo the adjuster so we can see the water come out. There it is. Let some of the air out. Then we're going to close it up again just to build the pressure again. I'm going to drop it out until the water starts to come out. There. So it's about still coming out there, I think. Let's just knock it off. Yeah, I think there's still a blob growing there, so that's still coming out, so that's good. So that's just about off. I'm going to turn it back half a turn. Okay, so that when it dries out, punch will come down, it'll let the water through into the basket, and it'll be watering it for us, which is great. So while I'm up here, let me just show you one other piece. So I had to do, there was a problem when I initially did it. I kept getting airlocks in the system, and I don't know whether I can pan around here. Let's just have a look. If you look down the ceiling, pipes go all across the roof. Basically, I was getting a lot of airlocks. So what I did was I got one of these things, which is right next to the spider. If you don't like spiders, turn around. Okay, now that lets the air out and keeps the water in. So that is a key piece of equipment design that you need for this. It will save you no end of trouble of going up and down ladders, as I found out the hard way. Going up and down ladders, checking pipes, and yeah, basically get airlock in the system. And the whole thing, basically, I'm trying to get the whole thing, it's pretty much there, going uphill. So the highest point is literally that air release valve. So all the air will eventually bubble up, because it comes in the taps, you get air in the taps and all sorts of things. It's not necessarily a leak somewhere, but it's water coming in the system that's got air in it. And that basically lets the air out, keeps the water in. Because it's at the highest point, all the air goes to the top. And then that stops any locking of your air pipes, of your water pipes rather. So as we climb down, it's very tricky to film this one. You can see, okay, let's just zoom down here. So that's the lowest point, and that's the highest point in that corner, and everything else I've tried to keep below it as the roof goes down. So that's all set up, that's all going, and that leaves me room for the next plant, which is going to go right there. Watch this space.